Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday night. Lovely to have you guys in here for another episode of the Prime Time Show. We are going to talk a little Titans and Texans this evening. Injury luck breaking pretty well for Tennessee. I'm going to explain what I mean by that here in just a second. We're happy to have you guys in for the final episode of the Prime Time Show this week. We always appreciate you spending your time here with us from Sunday to Thursday night, except for this Monday, because of course, Titans played on Monday Night Football. We're going to get into a couple of different things that I think are worth pointing out about this game and how the Titans benefit from the timing of this particular Texans game. You'll hear from Greg Cosell of NFL Films on one of the biggest advantages that the Titans have going for them at this point. And certainly there's a lot to like about what this team did. Having to turn around on a short week and do it again is no small feat, but we'll see if they're not capable of pulling something off. Before we get started, need you guys to share this show around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, wherever it is that you are hanging out with us, like Danny Whitson, who says, "Glad I was mad at work and accidentally awake. Please, Buck, distract me." Okay, I'll certainly see if I can get your mind off whatever it is that's ailing you, Danny. We don't want you unhappy in your workplace, and perhaps, maybe we will take your mind off of whatever it is that is bothering you. Amar says, "You're early tonight, Buck." Well, that's because I don't have Bert bogging me down. Jake Evans is kind enough to fill in for Robert Walsh, who is away on personal business. So because Robert is not here, this is a much more efficient version of the show. You all always want to blame me for my timing on this thing, but no, more often than not, it's my fault. It's not Robert's fault. Anyway, share the broadcast around. Hang out with us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, wherever it is that you're doing it. If you're on Twitter, retweet the show. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. If you're on YouTube, like Randy Howard, who says, "No shirtless Bert," I'm out of here. Don't blame you. If you're not here for the skin show, or if you're here for the skin show, I'm sorry to disappoint. I will be staying clothed throughout the duration of the broadcast, but don't worry, Robert will be back with us on Tuesday night. Jake and Sam and a bunch of other people are going to patch this thing together on the back end for me so that I can continue to do this in blissful ignorance. If you're on Twitch, like the video, subscribe to the channel, do the same on YouTube if you would be kind enough to do so. And with that, go ahead and get this rolling because it's 21-0. Raiders over the Chargers right now in the Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football game. And I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. So we figure we go. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to truemathfitness.com. Your first workout is free if you are in the area on Saturday, this Saturday, the 16th. And if you would like a free True Math Fitness class, all you got to do is show up to the True Math class at 10 a.m., bring a toy to donate to the Nashville Children's Hospital, and you will be able to participate in one of their great workouts for free. truemathfitness.com. The law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. Amanda J. and her crew, they've got you covered. Go to amandajgentry.com for more information. And Zen Sports, download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, and get up to $1,000 on your no danger first wager, courtesy of Zen Sports. So there's a lot of different things to like about what the Titans did on Monday Night Football. There's a lot that you don't like about what the Titans did on Monday Night Football that they got away with and need to have buttoned up if they're going to try and string together back-to-back wins for the first time this season. The Houston Texans are down tremendous at this point in time. They have never looked more vulnerable than they will on Sunday. But of course, those are the kind of opportunities that the Titans famously let slip by them. And while the hopes of a postseason appearance are highly unlikely, you would need to win out and have a bunch of other things break your way. It certainly doesn't start, or it certainly ends much quicker than it would have to if you lose to the Texans, the mangled Texans, on Sunday at Nissan Stadium in the Houston Oilers love you Blues. So we're going to go through why this is perfect timing for the Titans to capitalize here together. And I want to start with your Two Rivers Ford take, which you, of course, can enter in the comment section. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you engage. What is your level of confidence in the Titans versus the Texans on Sunday? We'll discuss it at length together. Brandon Staley is walking the green mile, says David Brown. Yes, it could always be worse. As bad as things feel right now for the Titans at 5-8, and they certainly feel a lot better at 5-8 than they did at 4-8. It could always be worse. You could be Brandon Staley. You could be paying $50+ million a year for a quarterback. And you could be winning absolutely nothing and probably losing your job on the year. So what is your level of confidence, though? Not in Brandon Staley and his ability to keep his employment situation, but in the Titans versus the Texans on Sunday. Your Two Rivers Ford take is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service is what they offer you. Powered by Ford, driven by people. That's Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So, with the Titans and what they were able to achieve in dramatic fashion against the Miami Dolphins, how can they now translate that into stringing together back-to-back wins? So we know that the Texans, or we don't know for certain, but it is highly unlikely that C.J. Stroud, their stud rookie quarterback, is going to play. Now, while I think that's disappointing, because I would like to see Levis and Stroud square off against one another, or to start this division rivalry, rookie rivalry that Anthony Richardson will be a part of, that Trevor Lawrence is obviously involved in. A lot of exciting young quarterbacks on all four of these AFC South teams, and I would have liked to see Stroud and Levis go back and forth. But there is no question that facing Davis Mills is a better situation for the Titans. They have to be able to capitalize at this point. So your level of confidence, I see a 5 from Randy Howard. He's got a little BTS, battered Titan syndrome, been burned by too many backup quarterbacks. Alex Bien says it's a solid 6. It can go either way. But that's the thing. This is exactly one of those games that shouldn't go either way. And I think that there's a lot about the Titans that does not give you confidence about their ability to handle a situation that is imminently handleable. I don't think that's a word. In fact, I know it's not. But either way, this is something that they should have a grip on, right? Will Anderson is in a walking boot, as reported by I'm blanking on the Houston area reporter's name. He works for one of the local television stations. It's going to drive me crazy. He's been there since they were the Houston Oilers. Damn. My apologies. I'll find the name of the reporter to credit for that report. But yes, Will Anderson is in a walking boot. Tank Dell is done for the year. Nico Collins is banged up. We'll see if he plays. It sounds like Dalton Schultz, their tight end, is going to be available, but half their offensive line is on the injury report and missing time at practice today. So this should be a game that the banged up Titans team should be able to bring down to their level, especially because they're playing at home. And if you can get to 6-8 as you try and mount this unthinkable comeback down the stretch, or at least a season comeback down the stretch. It's not John McClain, Lewis Duffield, but it's somebody like John McClain, and I'm blanking on the reporter's name. It's gonna drive me crazy. Anyway, I think that Aaron something. Oh God, I don't want to get bogged down. But as I look at the things that give me confidence about the Titans, there's something that really jumps out from what they did against Miami. And what they did against Miami, they did without Jeff Simmons, which makes it even more impressive. Greg Cosell and we broke down a lot of different things about this Titans-Dolphins game and the upcoming opponent, the Houston Texans, on the latest episode of The Install. It's the podcast that Greg and I do for 104.5 The Zone every week. You can check it out wherever you get your podcast. You can also check it out on The Zone's YouTube channel. So in the same way that you subscribe here, you can subscribe there to get all kinds of good stuff, like my interview with Arden Key today, that you can watch for yourself. And you can also see the full episodes of The Install on The Zone's YouTube channel. So Greg and I went through a variety of different things that we liked and that we saw from the Titans-Dolphins game. And one thing that Greg pointed out, I think, is their clearest and most obvious advantage against the Texans on Sunday if they can continue to build upon that. I'll tell you what that is here in a moment. right after I remind you that the primetime Aaron Wilson, yes, thank you, whomever is running the controls of A to Z Sports. I assume that's Jake Evans. Yes, Aaron Wilson. Appreciate you, Jake, for coming through in the clutch. See, Jake, even more efficient with the with making me informed the way that Robert is. Robert just feeds me fake news, and he does it in the private chat, so I get even more confused by all the different ways that I'm having to jump around. So this is why we enjoy when Robert is not here with us. Anyway, I'm taking a lot of shots at a dude who's missing time for a family situation, but we kid because we love Bert, truly. We are going to get into Greg Cosell's analysis of what I think the biggest Titans advantage is right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to truemathfitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout is ever recycled or repeated. At True Math, they help me lose almost 60 pounds. They're helping me keep that weight off as I soldier through another football season. A new way to work out for the best version of you. Go to truemathfitness.com for all their membership options for personal training, for those group fitness classes, and most importantly, your first workout free. So this was Greg Cosell breaking down what feels like the Titans' biggest advantage on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we have to talk about their defensive approach because we probably spoke last week about the way to play this offense and the fact that it was more about coverage than pressure. Now, they ended up with pressure, but their game plan approach, this to me was one of Bowen's finest hours, okay? What they did is a lot of disguise, a lot of late rotation. You're trying to create a moment of doubt in Tagovailoa, slow down his precise timing on his first window throws. They did that quite a bit. Now, we can sit here and say Tyreek Hill missed a chunk of the game. You know what? That's football. He missed a chunk of the game. They also didn't play with Jeff Simmons. So, I mean, you can get into that conversation all day long. But their basic approach was to defend the Dolphins' passing game first. They played out of nickel on almost every snap except for maybe 9 or 10, and those were specific situation snaps. So they pretty much said that, McCreary, depending on the offensive formation, McCreary, the slot corner, he'll be in the box. And you know what? If you want to run the ball, that's okay. And there were a couple of times he got eaten alive just because, he's a small guy. But they pretty much said, you know what? We're going to stop the pass. We're gonna do disguise. We're gonna rotate. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna rush with 4. It was high percentage 4-man D-line pass rush with zone coverage concepts behind it. They only rushed 5 on 5 of Tagovailoa's 41 dropbacks. So they took what I view, based on speaking with other coaches as well, what is the absolute right approach to play the Dolphins offense, and it worked out perfectly. And there, without going into the weeds, I'm talking about specific plays because people can't see them.
Right.
There were plays that were really good examples of how they took away those quick timing throws between the numbers that Tua likes to throw, and then were able to get pressure with their down 4. That's the way you have to play them. They did a great job. I thought Bowen, like I said, it was his finest hour.
Shane Bowen's finest hour is what Greg Cosell says of the Titans and the game plan that they went up against Miami with. It's the greatest advantage that Tennessee has in this game. The defense as a whole playing sound football. Now, can they survive back-to-back weeks without Jeff Simmons? We'll find out. This would be as good an advantage as they could take, and we'll go through the injury report for the Texans here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by the great people at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team have you covered. Go to amandajgentry.com, and she will put you in position to succeed. She'll protect your constitutional rights with a passion that you have never seen before. Get the kind of justice that you deserve at amandajgentry.com, wherever justice demands. So Greg saying basically the Titans did something that no other team has really effectively done this year. They didn't beat the Dolphins outright with their pass rush, even though there's 5 sacks that show up in the box score. This was really a great job by the defense as a whole, but it's only possible if they execute their coverage effectively and take away those first window throws from Tua in ways that there's not been a lot of teams that have been able to do so effectively this year. That allows, as I talked to Arden Key today on the radio show, allowed them an extra fraction of a second to get home to the tune of those 5 sacks. They flustered Tua. It's really the most kind of discombobulated that we've seen him all year. That on top of the fact that he was without his starting center, and looks like Connor Williams, the starting center for the Dolphins, is going to be done for at least the remainder of the regular season. I haven't seen anything about him long term, but they did exactly what they needed to do. And, sometimes it's as simple as that. Everybody has off nights in the NFL, and this was not the Dolphins' night, and the Titans were there to capitalize. It's well done by the players, but also a good job by the coaches to give them a plan that would be, I don't want to say simple enough for them to execute, but based on the amount of limitations that their parts have, give them a game plan that was simple enough for them to execute while still churning through a lot of different depth guys. CJ LaFernie says Cosell is the best in the business. I'm inclined to agree. Michael Newsom says even Amanda J. Gentry won't be able to protect Mills on Sunday. Listen, you guys know this. Don't sleep on Davis Mills. I don't think he's ever beaten the Titans, but and by the way, Tim Kelly will know more about Davis Mills than anybody around. Tim Kelly gave or helped Davis Mills to his most successful season as a pro while he was starting for the Houston Texans. I know it was a small sample size, and that fell apart pretty quickly, but listen, Tim Kelly went out there in, I think that was week 17 or week 18 against the Titans in Houston, and diced that defense up with Davis Mills and the corpse of Danny Amendola. So Davis Mills can do some things. You can't sleep on anybody. You're a 5-win football team, but there should be some opportunities to take advantage of here. JW89 says, I didn't expect Fulton to finish the season. Amar says secondary played well without Fulton. The Christian Fulton thing, and I want to make sure that I'm clear about this. I don't know all the different dynamics that come into play, and we played for you the Christian Fulton video last night. And in fact, I think that's worth running back because he's not going to be available. They shut him down for the season, but he didn't know that they were shutting him down for the season basically until he walked into the locker room yesterday to meet with Titans media and was informed, hey, they're going to ask you about going on IR. Just so you're aware, we put you on IR. And, that apparently was pretty surprising to him.
I mean, it's just the process, that you got to go through. Not happy about it, but just live and you learn, and, just hope to see what's to come next.
Christian, you were so confident in the summer that everything you'd done this offseason, the training, had put you in a place that it would be different this year. Yeah. Is it extra frustrating because it didn't turn out the way you expected?
I mean, yeah, it is. Because like I said, I feel like I have done everything, to stay on the field. And it didn't happen, so I don't know. Go figure, I guess.
Where do you go from here? I mean, I know obviously the first step is to get healthy, but the contract is up in March.
You got to let it play out, There's still a lot of season left. I know we went out, we still got to change, playoffs or whatever. So that's just the main goal. I'm going to do what I can, to help the guys around while I'm still around in the locker room or in the film room. But, yeah, you got to see where it goes from the end of the season, from now to the end of the season.
At what point did you feel like this might be season-ending, might linger? Did you kind of feel like you'd be able to come back, or what laid down IR this season?
I don't know. I just found out myself. So, like I said, I was gonna try to get back to the team. I knew we had 5 games left, so I was gonna do what I can to help.
Did it surprise you you were put on IR? Did they kind of tell you?
I mean, y'all can talk to Brave about it, but how that went down. So I don't know. I just found out, like I said.
I know it's frustrating for you. Anybody who, has been here, has dealt with injuries. Mm-hmm. What do you turn to just in terms of keeping that hope and positive attitude, whether it's playing here next year or somewhere else where you can continue your career?
I mean, the thing is, for me, I know injuries happen, and like I said, I went through all the precautions, I changed diet, everything, that I could to stay healthy. And it didn't work out. So, like I said, I know I did my part at the end of the day. I went the extra mile for my team, and it didn't work out. So I can't be mad at that. I'm glad I'm alive. I'm blessed to be in this position, and you got to see where it goes.
Has it been the same?
That's Christian Fulton speaking with Titans media in the locker room. Ronnie W. Crowder says, I can't help but feel sorry for him. Listen, I do too, man. I really do. I don't know what's going on with him and Vrabel, but something's up there. That should have been handled a lot better. And listen, whether that's intentional, whether that's accidental, no player should be put in a position as he's walking into the locker room preparing for a day of prep to be informed, hey, we're putting you on IR just so you know the media is going to ask you about it. That effectively ends your season because there's only 4 games left. MB says, I think he handled it well. I agree. I mean, he's been under fire all year long, and I think he's been pretty level-headed about it, truly. Now, I know there's some stuff about him saying that he knows he's a top corner that you guys were poking fun at and all these different things, but man, I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. And while 2021 was definitely his best season, his second season was his best season. You know, there wasn't anything to indicate last year that his production or his performance would fall off a cliff the way that it has this year. He's the 180th ranked of 200 qualified corners on Pro Football Focus as far as coverage is concerned. Jackie Holbert says Blaine Bishop has been all over Vrabel mishandling Fulton and other players' situation. Yeah, Mike is unintentionally dividing a locker room with the way that he handles some of this stuff. And it hurts. It more of that bubbles to the surface at 4-8. It's not the first time that guys felt a certain type of way about Mike Vrabel. Won't be the last time. Mike's a very specific kind of personality, and you know, some people vibe with it, some people don't. But I think you know, I agree. I feel bad for Christian Fulton. I don't know what he could have done to make this situation better. I know it didn't go anywhere close to the way that he thought it would have gone, and I think he's going to get another opportunity, and I hope for his sake that he succeeds. I know that'll drive Titans fans crazy if he goes on to have success elsewhere, but I can't help but think that this year was not his fault. Amar says Fulton is best as a slot corner. That's not true. He was wretched as a slot corner when they tried him at, and that's not somewhere he ever played in college. He's best on the outside. It's not about what you've done. It's about what you have done for me lately, says Stephen King. Absolutely so. And he has not done that. MB says, isn't that Carthon's job to put guys on IR because it's a roster issue? If you say so. All right, let's keep it moving. The Raiders just scored again. It's 28-0. I would ask you who you got. It seems like it might be a waste of a segment because 28 are about to go up 28-0, provided that they make the extra point here. Raiders fans going crazy in Vegas right now against LA. Reminder that the Primetime Show is made possible by Zen Sports. Your $1,000 up to $1,000 no danger first wager is available to you when you plug in that promo code ATOZTN. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 or up in Tennessee to bet. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789. So who needs to bounce back most in sports this week? You can give me your submissions if you would like. Cordy Jackson says, Buck was Fulton on the third field. Listen, no, not on the third field. Nowhere close to it. They've sent him to the darkness. They've sent him to the shadows, the roster shadows. And you can ask me when he'll be back off IR, and the answer is never, at least not here. Anyway, I don't think that Christian Fulton is coming back next year, but I suppose stranger things have happened, and that's what the offseason is for. So we will see, but it does seem unlikely at this point. Billy Jones says he'd take the Chargers plus 50. I mean, the Chargers right now need to bounce back desperately. Brandon Staley's going to get fired. I don't even think finding a way to win this game would save Brandon Staley at the end of the season. And it's probably best that they move on from him. The defense is just atrocious. William Jones says bounce back. MB agrees that it should be Draymond Green. You know, but it's on the damn Golden State Warriors. They don't even react to when he punches dudes in the face on the court. They've allowed him to get away with this for so long, and yeah, now it's manifesting itself more because he's clearly a shell of himself. Golden State is not a good basketball team this year, and Draymond lashing out in different ways for whatever his reason is, whether it's just because he's being Draymond or whether that's because, he's frustrated with his inability to perform up to the standard that he's set for himself across the course of his career. It's just so bad. So bad. Tony Bearfield says the answer to your question is still Traylon Burks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Burks thing. It's really confounding to me. But again, I think the coaching staff could help him more. I think they could. Maybe that's easy for me to say, just sitting here secondhand play calling or secondhand coordinating or secondhand coaching. But I can't help but think that the Traylon Burks thing is it's just weird. It's all weird. It's a weird football team. It's a weird year. So the organization is kind of in a odd spot, and a lot of people are deeply frustrated internally with how things are going, not just because they're a 5-win football team. And Miami covers that up for a minute, but doesn't resolve a lot of their problems. So we'll see how they continue. If they can string together back-to-back wins, maybe it gets a little easier. Maybe people start to calm themselves and put their nose back to the grindstone and all these different things. But right now it's just kind of like doesn't seem to be a lot of trust internally in that organization at this point. Anyway, it's going to do it for us tonight on the Primetime Show. It's going to do it for us this week on the Primetime program. We appreciate you guys spending another week with us. The next time we meet on this particular show, it will be Sunday night after the Texans, and we'll react to that. 615 sessions tomorrow. It's going to be our main man, PK. Paul Kaharski is going to be our guest co-host. We'll do that live streamed at 3:30 Central Time, so you can check that out. The radio show, my good friend Cameron Wolf from the NFL Network will be on. We'll also have Coach Dave McGinnis. We'll talk Texans and Titans with them. We'll see if Cam is recovered from DeAndre Hopkins calling him or saying that he's saying that he shouldn't have done that interview with Cam hating ass, is what he said on social media before he deleted the tweet. After he gave Cam one of the best interviews that I've seen DeAndre Hopkins give. So it's unfortunate that way. But we'll have fun from 10 to 1 on the radio show. We'll have fun with PK on the 615 pod, and we'll make sure that we get back together on Sunday night and talk about whatever the hell happens between the Titans and the Texans on Sunday. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys.